racing onto the Robattle stage not as your simple pop idol or ballroom dancer, but instead as a hardened battle-ready rocker. It is GBV03 Shushu Pop 3. With a kit of Fight Full Charge, Emit Hammer, Break Claw, Wield Legs, and the leg ability of Heroic, which passively buffs the amount of Metaforce gained in any way. Now, the long-awaited Shushu Pop 3 has been expected for quite a number of weeks now at time of recording, and the long wait is most certainly paid off with the inclusion of not just Shushu Pop 3 with her new body, but also with a new single of Special One that was released alongside her. And much like it was with the other girls getting completely different kits, just kind of changing up the game, Shushu Pop also does kind of take a whole brand new approach to how she fights on the field with her new body. This one far more aggressive than any other of her previous forms combined. Fight Full Charge on the head skill is a special type skill, meaning it does not have any kind of mastery or metal mastery requirement to use it. But, simply explained, serving as a full charge, it will sap the user's head HP to completely fill their Metaforce gauge to 100%. Additionally, this version will also supply a stack of Fight Charge to self, which is a 50% boost to the user's melee damage while it's in effect. However, in addition to, and as a cost to being able to fully cap your Metaforce gauge and get a stack of Fight Boost, this skill also applies an Overload effect to self, which means that while it's in effect, you also get a damage over time that will slowly whittle your HP down the longer that the ailment's allowed to stay active. So do make sure that if you do plan to make use of this, you either finish the enemy off quickly, or you have somebody that's able to either restore HP or remove the ailment. Just as a friendly reminder, the ailment is not required in order to keep the fight boost back, so it's simply just a cost of being able to overload yourself for that next blow. Emit Hammer on the right arm is a melee attribute skill that has a very unique condition but a very lucrative damage bonus on top of that. Emit Hammer plays very simply in the fact that it requires 30 CG from the user's charge gauge in order to even be used. If you have no charge, you can't use Emit Hammer. But the trade-off to that, however, is the fact that for the cost of that 30 CG, it doubles your base power. So instead of the roughly 1538 that you'll be seeing here at a base power that Shushu 3 brings to the table, you'd instead be clocking close to an average of about 3k per hit before any other modifiers are added. That's not touching on the fight boost effect she'd get to herself with Fight Full Charge, any Meta Rodder bonuses, or anything else of the like, and that's still an incredibly powerful hit all the same. Now, it is still a very expensive blow though, as it means it's going to consume 30 CG every single time, and it does require you to be able to maintain that or even kind of keep your Metaforce charge up to a certain point so that you can keep using it over and over. It is also worth noting that this is the first ever instance of Emit Hammer on a non-collab model, as it first released back with Adana Singh from the Nadasiko collaboration. Break Claw on the left arm, and her only brand new skill that she's introducing to the game thus far, is a Scatter type Gravity attribute skill, which means that it gets a success bonus tied to the user's charge gauge, which means higher success, higher likelihood of landing hits and crits, but as a gravity skill, it also has an excelled use in heavy punish. So if anyone is packing, say, 2 or more heavy parts, they are going to be absolutely feeling the pain for packing on the extra weight. Whereas if they're only dealing 1 or none, probably not anything lasting. The difference with this one, though, is the fact that unlike regular Break, which is a piercing type of attack, this version is simply a scatter type of attack instead, which means it'll be damaging 1 part normally and then 2 others randomly for extra damage. So, between Emit Hammer and Break Claw, Shushu 3 is far more aggressive than she has been in any other iteration of her design ever since her release, but she also is the most scattered, I guess you can call it, in terms of the damage that she can bring to the table. But with the modifiers that she also is packing between a scatter effect on Break Claw and the double damage on Emit Hammer, she really is not going to be lacking as far as the damage sustained is concerned. Wield Legs means that Shushu 3 will have very solid coverage across a very small handful of terrains, but she also has the highest base speed among most other leg types as a trade-off. So while she may only be really good on 2 terrains at best, which is normally Cyber and Arena or Stadium, and that's, again, including Cyber, which everybody gets S rank on, she's going to be really picky on the terrains that she's good at, which is unfortunately a weakness that she's carried since the very beginning of when she first debuted. The difference is, with Shushu 1, she had field control, and with Shushu 2, she had Dominion. So with this version, she's kind of trading off her terrain balancing for better power and more aggressive approach. As far as numbers are concerned, though, she's packing a base mobility of 1013, which is fully to be expected for a wheel type, especially a very small female, a small wheel type like her. And a evade of 1552 is also very nice, as it means she's going to be able to dodge or graze pretty consistently and relatively easily, as long as the enemy is either completely blind or usually has a success lower than her evade. However, with a melee resist of 854 and a shoot resist of 585, she's trading a lot of her overall support, combat as a utility type for more power at the cost of also being far more fragile than any of her other previous forms. So while she can most certainly hit very hard between Emit Hammer and Break Claw, she also can take the hits just as easily and very easily break or even cripple her while she's on the field. As far as armor is concerned, she's packing just a little bit better in that department though, with a head armor of just shy of 3900, a right arm of 37, almost 3800, a left arm at 31, almost 3200, and legs at almost 4200 HP. She's definitely a whole lot healthier in the armor department than she is in the damage reduction. So while she can take a hit fairly well, you really want to try to make sure that she tries to not take the hits, because they probably will break her sooner. All this being said though, as a pure set score, I honestly have to rate Shushu Pop 3 a pretty well-rounded 7.5 out of 10. And I guarantee you, and I promise, this is not bias speaking because I am an absolute fan and adore this new version of her. But her kit overall is actually quite synergetic across the board. Fight Full Charge for the full charge that you can use for Emit Hammer and Break Claw, and the extra fight boost on top of it does synergize with both of those moves incredibly well. So they're already going to be hitting notably harder than the numbers that you're seeing here. Emit Hammer already is in need of the CG cost in order to even be used, so that answers itself pretty easily. But Break Claw also getting a success bonus relative to charge also does kind of add an extra bonus there as well. And the leg ability of Heroic, which will buff the amount of Metaforce that Shushu 3 gains in any kind of way, does kind of feed back into her ability of charge sustain. So you will still need to pair it off with a Hunter or Sniper Nature Medal ideally, but you probably won't need it nearly as bad as long as you're still able to keep your CG sustain relatively high. The only real weaknesses she has is the fact that because she is wheel-legged, that does very severely hurt a lot of the terrain that she is on. But it is also worth noting that with the exception of Break Claw, which is a brand new skill, Fight Full Charge, Emit Hammer, and Heroic are all skills that were previously only male or collab only. Heroic, of course, on the previous Digimon collaboration with Imperial Drago, Emit Hammer, like I said, with Adonis Singh from the Nadasiko collab, and Fight Full Charge, first ever instance of it for females. As mixed parts, though, I have to rate her just a little bit higher at an 8 out of 10. While Fight Full Charge very easily speaks for itself that you can use it basically anywhere that has any kind of charge sustain requirement, you can honestly mix a lot of the parts up and not really go wrong with your overall performance. Emit Hammer does kind of require you to be CG reliant, so you probably will pair that off with Fight Full Charge or something similar. Break Claw you could probably use just about anywhere, being completely honest, especially for its ability in Heavy Punish. And Wield Leg with Heroic, while they may be really picky on terrain, the extra bonuses that you'll be getting for charge sustain do honestly speak for itself as well. Just bear in mind that, again, they are very fragile legs and will be subject to a lot more heavier punish when taking hits from the enemy.